Hi. We had a great event last night, and I thought while I'm clearing off this big countertop of all the books that we had out for everyone to look at, I'll just walk through them. So if you weren't here, or if you didn't get a chance to look at them, or you wanted to look at them again, it'll be like you're here with me, and you can see all the books and things that I had setting out. So the first pile I'm going to go through, I'll just do a video. This first video will be just the Thanksgiving books. And I didn't get a chance to do the Thanksgiving tips I wanted to do because we had so much to talk about that we were just getting short on time. So I will be posting some more Thanksgiving tips. They're more tips. I don't have as many tips for the meal itself, as important as that is. It's more the things to do in November with your kids leading up to Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving is such an important time to be able to speak God's truth, talk about the history of our nation to your children, teach them to be thankful to the Creator for all that we have. Um, so I'll be sharing some crafts, some movies, some books, some things that we like to do in November when we get to Thanksgiving. So these are books that we like to use for fall and for Thanksgiving. I love fall and Thanksgiving. I do not like to skip them straight to Christmas. I'd rather prolong Christmas through winter than skip autumn. I love autumn and Thanksgiving. So this first one is Henry Explores the Mountains. If you have any little boys, the Henry Explores books are really fun. I found the first one, which is called Henry the Explorer. It was a super worn out copy that I just found at a thrift store. And I thought, oh, this is like a cute little boy book. And bought it and saw that it actually was out of print. And then Purple House Press actually put these back in print. And there's one for each season. But if you have a little boy, my little boys have always loved the Henry Explorers books. They're very sweet. It's Henry. He goes exploring, to be an explorer with his dog. They make flags every time. And this one I pull out at fall because it's the fall book. But I do highly recommend the first one, the series, Henry the Explorer. You could start with that one and then add your fall one. Henry the Explorer takes place in winter. So it's a good one for winter as well. So that's Henry Explores the Mountains, and it's by Mark Taylor, and the illustrations are by Graham Booth. Okay, the next book in my pile is a really fun one. It is by Louisa May Alcott. It's called An Old-Fashioned Thanksgiving, and the illustrations are by Jody Wheeler. So I think there's several different versions of this. Obviously, Louisa May Alcott's original didn't have pictures, so this is a picture book format. And it's a really fun story for Thanksgiving that we've enjoyed. So that's a good one to look up. Okay, this one is Hibernation Station. This is a fun book for preschoolers or toddlers. It's very simple, little rhymes. It's about animals that hibernate, and they're all getting on an imaginary train to hibernate for the winter. And so as you turn the pages, you see it changing to winter, and at the end it starts to snow. And it's one of those little rhymy books that's fun to say out loud. Okay, probably our favorite Thanksgiving book is Cranberry Thanksgiving. If you haven't seen this one, I think you'll really enjoy it. We made a whole big deal of this whenever we read it the first time. We looked up YouTube videos about cranberry bogs. We studied New England, and it's a fun story. It takes place in New England about a girl who invites her neighbor over. And one thing that I do like about this book is the hero of the story is this guy with the big bushy beard. I mean, and there's not a lot of stories for kids where the hero is the guy with a big bushy beard. He's kind of this gruff man that the grandmother's not very fond of, but he ends up being the hero in the end, saving the day. And we find out he's actually the good guy. So I do like that aspect of it. But it's a fine story. And at the very end, there is a recipe, as somebody colored that. There's a recipe for grandmother's famous cranberry bread. So it's fun. You get to make something too with the story. There's also a book, I think this is also by Purple House Press. Purple House Press republished this one as well. That's a fun website to go on if you haven't seen their books, purplehousepress.com. There's also a cranberry Christmas that we don't have yet. We like that as well. There's YouTube videos that read through the whole story online. So if you want to check it out first before you buy it, you can just look it up and someone's online on YouTube reading the whole story for you. Okay, this is a fun little chapter book for kids. Margaret Pumphrey's Pilgrim Stories. This is an old one. It's kind of falling apart. This is a really nice one. Landmark Books, The Pilgrims at Plymouth. I try to be careful with what pilgrim books I buy. You can get different kind of narratives about the pilgrims, but this one's a really good one. It talks about why the pilgrims came because of their faith in God, and there's just a lot of detail in this one. You have to learn about different hardships they went through. So this is for a little bit older kids. Depending on your kid, you could probably read a few pages of this a day, even if they're only 5 or 6, and just like make it something you read throughout November. This is a neat book. It's called On the Mayflower. I found this at the bookstore, and it just has real photos in it of, I believe these are the ships that they have, the duplicates, they have the replicas in New England. So you kind of get to see what life was like on the ship at that time. It's a fun book that I picked up at the thrift store. It's just Thomas Kincaid paintings. It actually goes through all the seasons, but I just love that one, and it's just fun one to pull out. I like to have books of art around the house the kids just look at. I'll set them out different places. This is Pumpkin Pumpkin by Jean Titherington. That's a fun preschool book. Great. It's like a little rhyme. This is one of our favorite fall books. If you give a moose a muffin, it's in the same series as if you give a mouse a cookie. You like this one a lot. And of course you can make muffins after you read it. The Busy Little Squirrel is just really, really simple. There's not really a lot of words in it, but it's about a squirrel who's very busy. And my littlest ones really like this book. This is one of my favorites, The Three Little Kittens by Paul Galdone. Paul Galdone does a lot of the classic fairy tales, and he really sticks to the classic fairy tale line, which I love. And this one is one of my favorites because you see all the fall colors. There's lots of fun little details in the house of the cats where you see just like funny little cat things, the ketchup. Well, the spice cabinet here says catnip on it, and it's just different ways of chopping or grounding or grinding or catnip roots or leaves. And there's ketchup in here called catsup. You keep seeing the autumn leaves in the windows. And there's the catsup. Mm-hmm. And it's just very fun. We like this book a lot. This is great for toddlers and preschoolers. They all love it. It's a classic story. You see, you have catfish. So lots of fun things. And this one is From Seed to Pumpkin by Wendy Pfeiffer. And it just talks about how a pumpkin grows, which we love pumpkins. So this is a fun way to learn about them and how they grow from the ground. One last book I'll show you. This book is Sky Tree. This is a fun book to just have sitting out on like a stand part of the time, because you can switch it out, of course, but you see the same tree in the same place and it changes through the seasons. And so this is the page for autumn, but you can see the leaves fall. I just like to change it as the seasons are changing. And then there's questions about the artwork. How does it make you feel? What do you notice about the picture? This is a little Christmas tree that I got from Hobby Lobby years ago. And these are fun to have if you have little kids, because it's their own little tree that they can decorate and undecorate. And this is the one they're allowed to touch. Of course, whenever you're decorating the big tree for the family, they get to help with that. But this one they can just mess with, and it's just kind of, they'll enjoy it. It's fun. They can put it in their room, or they can just have it in the family area. But that's a fun activity. These are red and white pipe cleaners. Twist them together and then snip them short and bend them, and you have little candy canes for your tree. And the rest is just ribbons. Okay, a few other activities I'd mentioned for little ones last night. One is the Arctic sensory bath, where it's a bubble bath. You do lots of bubbles and you use shaving cream to make snow. So they to play with, you have little shaving cream piles and you have Arctic creatures, which you can find online. A couple good brands are Safari Limited, makes some really nice realistic animals, and also Schleek. They make very realistic looking animals. They're good quality. And on the bottom, it'll say exactly what the name of the animal or what species it is. These actually, I found on Amazon, they're really nice quality. It was a family of polar bears, and it's not either of those brands, but we've liked this one a lot. So that's a fun activity you can do. You also can freeze them, freeze the little Arctic animals in like those freezer trays that are cubes, so you can kind of put them in there and you can make glaciers with the Arctic animals in them that will melt during the bath. So that's fun. These are, I mentioned we do PEZ and the Christmas stockings. So I keep these in their, I mentioned we use stocking Ziploc bags, big Ziploc bags for their stockings, and it has their name on it. It's just stay in my gift bin throughout the year. And so things like this that we'll use each year in their stockings, this goes back in their Ziploc bag, and then we'll add more things to that bag throughout the year so that whenever it's Christmas Eve, we have their bag for each kid already filled up and ready, and I don't have to sort everything out. I'm making this filler stocking. So these are Christmas PEZ. These are, I found these at Hobby Lobby. They're little tiny miniature ornaments, but we use them to make Play-Doh Christmas trees. So we have, you can just use green Play-Doh, or one year I got them glitter Play-Doh, sparkly Play-Doh, and they just made Christmas tree shapes and decorated them with these little tiny ornaments, and that was one of their Advent activities for the month. So I've mentioned also being on the lookout for not just storybooks, but fun books. There's lots of different kinds of books for Christmas, and this is one of our favorites. It's a seek and find book. So if you can look for different Christmas-themed seek and find books, this is one that we really like. There's just so much detail. There's so much dimension to each seek and find page. And it also just feels very magical. So I like this brand a lot. This brand is, it's by Walter Wick. So this series is by Walter Wick, and he has quite a few of these, but this is the Christmas one. This is one my sister bought for us, and it's a really fun one. It's a Christmas Carol seek and find. And this one on each page goes to a different part of a Christmas Carol. Tells you all the characters there in the beginning. And you just look for the different objects or people in the picture as you go through the different scenes in the story. So that is a fun one. Very fun illustrations. This is a kid's Christmas jokes book. This might be a fun stocking stuffer or 12 Days of Christmas book, especially if your kids are at that age that just love jokes and they finally understand how the joke makes sense and that makes it funny, as opposed to the age whenever they laugh at everything that doesn't make any sense. This is kind of fun for when they're hitting that age and they love jokes. Eat the Great and the Crunchy Christmas. This is a good early reader. Has some activities in the back as well. Snow paintings. This is good for a snowy day. This is a fun series. It's the Extreme Dot to Dot books. This is the Christmas themed one. This is for older kids. This Dot to Dot series has anywhere from like 500 to over 900 dots on each page. So this is a fun activity that my older kids have really enjoyed. It's just a fun thing for them to do. At the very end, you can see what the picture is supposed to look like, and you can color it. They show you. Yeah. So if you can't figure it out, there's a helpful guide to the back. But this is a fun series. Extreme Dot to Dot. This is a fun one as well. Christmas Color by Numbers for a little bit younger kids. They get to follow the color, and this actually has a lot of different shades in it. So it's apricot and pink. So you kind of need the full crayon set for this one. and I just get to color the different numbers that color. So a little bit less messy than the paint by number, but the same idea. This is Amazing Christmas. This is an activity book where it's Christmas themed mazes, and they are mazes for older kids. And each one has a Bible verse on it, but it's very intricate. So it is a fun maze book for bigger kids. Okay, I had mentioned Nutcracker themed stuff. This is a pad of Nutcracker stickers that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby one year. Remember, Hobby Lobby tends to mark down their stuff the week of Christmas. They already start dropping it, at least they have in the past, to like 70% off the week of Christmas. They don't wait till after Christmas to start marking their Christmas stuff down. So especially if you're going to do like a Nutcracker day, during the 12 days of Christmas, that's a good time to look and get your Nutcracker. If they've had in the past 2 years a lot of Nutcracker themed crafts, all kinds of Nutcracker stuff. If you see something that you really want, they do sometimes sell out during December. So if there's a craft that you really want to get, it's worth it just to go ahead and get it a little early to make sure you have it, because they do sell out by the time they mark it down 70%. But you can still find a lot of good stuff. Okay, more books. This is just a collection of Rembrandt's Christmas paintings. So this is just I like to collect books of artists that have around as another genre of book that you have available to your kids to pick up and look at and study. So that's a nice one. Some board books. We have Merry Christmas Mouse. If you give a mouse a cookie, this is a fun one for toddlers and preschoolers. This is along the same lines, The Very Hungry Caterpillar's Christmas. I found these half off at Barnes & Noble after Christmas one year. So a reminder to always keep your eye out for those good sales and check out things after Christmas if you happen to be around those stores. If you have a little boy that loves Little Blue Truck, Little Blue Truck's Christmas is great. You see the art is kind of well loved. It's kind of falling apart. The last page, if it still works, it's falling apart there. The last page does light up. I don't see ours lighting up anymore. We've kind of used this one up, but that's a fun book if you can find that one, if you have a little boy. The Pokey Little Puppy's First Christmas is fun. Baby's Christmas, they're classic golden books. This is the Nutcracker. We like this one. We got it somewhere, and I like this version of the Nutcracker. There's other versions out there, but we like this one, so we kept it. And this is a Bendon book. Little House on the Prairie. This one's Laura's Christmas. It's a Lift the Flap book. Oh, that one's kind of falling apart too. Just real life. But that was kind of fun. More books. We have used over the years. We honestly had never actually read through this book as a family. But I'm sure it's great. But we've used this guide for the scripture reading. So it gives you a different scripture to read each day. You begin with the prophecies in the Old Testament, law of the fall of man, the prophecies of the coming Messiah, and you work your way through the Advent readings. It also has hymn suggestions. This is a good one to start with. This is the 12 Days of Christmas, and it is by Helen Hadel. And this is a fun one to read each day during the 12 Days of Christmas. It just goes through the song and explains a lot of the symbolism of the different things in the song, which is fun. This is one of my favorites. This is The Christmas Miracle of Jonathan Toomey. I find that I like so many books by this publisher, with the little bear and the candle. But this book is just a sweet story. The illustrations are beautiful. And there is a movie that I was also pleasantly surprised by that I really like. So this is worth getting. Also looking for the movie and watching the movie as a family. It makes a nice Christmas movie to watch. This is an Advent book. It's called Waiting for Christmas. And it's a story about the Advent calendar. It's about a little boy in Germany. It's set back in 1800s. You see worship and sleighs. And it's a boy whose father is a pastor, and he's so very anxious for Christmas to come. And his mother makes him a little advent calendar with a cookie for each day as he's waiting for Christmas. So this is a fun book. This one is by Kathleen Bostrom. Okay, The Snowy Nap. This is a fun. All of Jan Brett's books are pretty fun. You have such beautiful illustrations. They're so detailed. And of course, she's known for showing you in the sides what else is happening in the story, what's coming up, what's happening with somebody else. So you have these little clues as you go through to what's going to be happening. And this one is about Hedgie. We love Hedgie, the little hedgehog. And it talks about, this is more of a winter book. So this actually is in our winter pile. You can read this all throughout winter. The Snowy Nap. This is a fun one that we just like, the Christmas wreath. I just had it in my collection as a kid, and we just like it. That one's by James Hoffman. Bear's First Christmas by Robert Kinnerk is just a very fun, one of those books that's fun to read aloud because they have a really nice rhythm and everything rhymes. So Norman Rockwell's Christmas book has some fun stories in it, and it comes with paintings that you can display. So artists. Okay, let me go through. These are Christmas ones. This is one of my favorites, and we only discovered this one a couple years ago. Mr. Willoughby's Christmas Tree. Another fun book to read aloud because everything has a rhyme to it. It has a rhythm. And also it's just very fun. You get to see all these different creatures, families, and what they do with this top of the Christmas tree, which comes full circle way back to the beginning at the end. So that's a really fun book, Mr. Willoughby's Christmas Tree by Robert Barry. This book is a bit of a tearjerker, but it's very good. The Year of the Perfect Christmas Tree by Gloria Houston, and the illustrations are by Barbara Cooney. But this one is about a little girl in Appalachia, and her father goes away to war, but it's her family's turn to provide the Christmas tree for the church service. And there's this whole moving story goes through. It ends the happy ending with Christmas Day. So that's a fun classic. Along the same lines of fun Christmas books that give you the warm fuzzies, Holly and Ivy by Rumer Godden and Barbara Cooney. This is a fun one. Just really sweet about a little girl named Holly, and she wants this little doll. Actually, it's the other way around. She's Ivy, the doll's Holly. But it's a really sweet story. It's one of my daughter's favorites. She got it for Christmas last year. Bear Stays Up. If you like the bear books, this is the Christmas one. Bear Snores On is the winter one about hibernation. That should go in my winter books. Another Jan Brett book, Christmas Trolls. This is a nice one that we've enjoyed. Again, lots of beautiful detail to her illustrations. It's about not fussing and sharing and giving at Christmas. This one's not strictly Christmas, but is about gingerbread. So it is Snip, Snap, Snurr, which is I believe they're Swedish. It's a Swedish picture book series. There's another one that's for girls, and it's about these 3 triplets and their adventures being covered in gingerbread. So that's a fun book. This is The Friendly Beast. It's based off of the English Christmas Carol. And it's by Tommy Day Paola. That's a good one, especially if your kids like the song. This one was given to us. It's a nice book. It's about Martin. St. Martin is a St. Martin's Day and the Red Cloak. And it tells the story about Martin and what he did. It actually has 1 page in English and 1 page in German throughout, which is kind of fun if you want to try your hand at reading out loud different language. Oh, this is another Seek and Find book. This is Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. And my kids really like this one. Each page has lots of different things to find with the peanut stain. Okay, now I'm going to go through our winter books. These books are not Christmas themed, but they are just winter themed. So you can keep these ones out all winter. So Jan Brett has a bunch that are really fun for winter. You can even get her treasury Um, this one's called The Hat, and this is a funny one about Hedgie the Hedgehog, who's one of our favorite characters. Another one in here we have is The Snowy Nap. This is a fun one about the hedgehog. He tries to stay awake to see winter. He sees a bunch of it, and he eventually falls asleep. So this is a fine one. And there's another one called The Mitten, which I think we own and it's somewhere, but that's also a really good one. Oh, this is actually a Christmas one. A Very Merry Christmas. It's the Pooh book. That's a fun one. And Pooh's Snowy Day. You like that one? Honestly, this is one of those books that whenever I go to a thrift store or a kids consignment store, I'm just on the lookout for Christmas books for the year, or winter books, or just books that look nice. So this is why I just picked up, because it was wintry and it was only $1.50. So it's been a nice book. This is a good book that's worth owning. The Big Snow. This is a classic. It had won the Cowpot medal. And like a lot of the books that are good classic preschool books from years ago have that symbol on them, like the Robert McCloskey books, Make Way for Ducklings. A lot of them, his books have this. So this one actually is really good. And The Big Snow by Berta and Elmer Hader. And it also teaches you a lot about different animals and what they do during the winter. So this is a fun one. Over and Under the Snow by Kate Messner. This is a very fun book that teaches you what's happening under the snow and that different layer, kind of different little world underneath everything. And then the last part in the very end, it goes over each of the creatures that it talked about and just tells you a little bit more about them. One of my favorite winter books is Owl Moon by Jane Yolen. This is just a really, I don't know, it's just really nice. It's kind of a little haunting because they're outside in the moonlight, and it's just a really nice winter story to read. And because it has that rhymey feel to it too. This book I just picked up when I was again at the thrift store and saw a book that I thought my kids might enjoy, and it's a winter theme. It's all about building an igloo. And some of my boys had actually been asking about igloos and stuff recently. So I thought, you know what? This would be a book worth picking up. They would probably find this one very interesting. So this is Building an Igloo. And it's one of those books you can just pick up and then you just set it on the shelf, like or wherever you display your books, and just you'll walk by a little while later or the next day, and you'll see one of your kids sitting down looking at this book and like, yes. Okay, Bear Snores On. It's a bear book about hibernation. And then this is a fun one. S is for Snowman, God's Wintertime Alphabet. It's by Kathy Jo Worgan. And it just walks through each letter of the alphabet. We like to sing the alphabet song, or if we go to the front and the back. Oh, yeah, this is one of those ones we've had for a long time. It's a little worse for wear. It has a lot of tape in it. But it just goes through something for each letter that has to do with winter. It is kind of Christmassy. There's Christmas stuff in it too. C is for cookies. E is for evergreen. It's just a fun one to go through, especially if your kids are at that age where they're learning the alphabet and you know that. Okay, so I think that is all our Christmas preschool books. I guess we actually have a couple. Let me show you some Christmas cookbooks. I feel like I could collect some more Christmas cookbooks. I've only got 2. So this is I'm Dreaming of a Chocolate Christmas. This is just a fun one because it has lots of pictures in it, and it has lots of recipes. I think one of the ones that ended up being our favorite, because honestly there's a lot that I haven't made, is actually a snack cake recipe that has oatmeal in it. So we do oatmeal a lot for breakfast. Here it is. This is this recipe we've used the most in this cookbook. Jan's Oatmeal Chocolate Chip Cake. This is just like a really nice hearty, it's not like a desserty cake. It's like a good snack. It's got oatmeal in it. It's a good way to use up leftover oatmeal. So you can make it, this feels a little bit healthier. And it just makes a nice, you can make do a big, huge sheet of it. You got some nuts on top, and it just makes a nice snack. This is the Pastry Queen Christmas. This one is also a fun cookbook. It's by Rebecca Rather. She is down in Texas, and she has a lot of fun, very Texas type Christmas recipes that are really yummy. I think this is the one where she has a really nice chili. Oh yeah, this one. In the bag chili Frito pie. You could do this with the Fritos or without, but it's just a really nice dark chili, and she uses like the real baking chocolate in it, which is really, it's a nice dark deep chili. So this is a fun cookbook that I had liked, and she has some beautiful cakes. Let's see if I can find the cakes in here. So I mean, some of these really might not feel like Christmas to us if we're not in Texas. But some do. Like that looks great Christmassy. Roast pork. Chocolate cookie crusted eggnog cheesecake. I mean, that sounds delicious. She has beautiful cakes. She had another beautiful one here. The tamales are delicious. Well, she has New Year's Eve recipes. Okay, maybe I can't find it for you. She has a fun gingerbread recipe in here. Gingerbread house. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's a chocolate cake, but she has oh yeah, this one. Apple spice layer cake with caramel swirl icing. Does that sound amazing? So that's a fun one. I like her cookbooks. The Pastry Queen. She has a regular one, and she has the Pastry Queen Christmas. So those are my Christmas cookbooks. If you have any suggestions, a Christmas cookbook that you love, just please let me know.